Hi there, this is Tony from pianotone.ca, and in this video, I just wanted to let you all know about a pretty cool looking new digital piano coming soon from Roland, the Roland FP-E50 digital piano. And just so you know, I haven't actually seen one of these yet for myself, so I can't offer my personal opinion on anything other than the specs and what I've seen online so far. But after having looked through those specs and seen some initial prices in the US, I've got to say that this looks like it's going to be a home run for Roland in 2023. It looks like the Yamaha DGX 670 may finally have some competition. So let's check it out. So I just finished renting and reviewing a Roland FP30X digital piano. And in my review, while I did mention how amazing the sounds are from Roland's supernatural sound engine, and how if you're looking for a digital piano with a realistic acoustic piano action, that the heavier PHA4 triple sensor action with escapement is going to be an awesome choice. But I was also pretty critical about the user interface, or lack thereof. In my opinion, for an $800 US price tag, you shouldn't have to be forced to use function key combinations just to choose voices. In order to actually get a functional user interface in the FP line, you have to move up to the FP60X, which does add more voices, a mic input, bigger speakers, and it takes the user interface from, quite frankly, really bad on the FP30X to a fabulous user interface that includes a lot of quick access buttons and an LCD screen. But you're paying quite a bit more for that, with the FP60X being priced at kind of a whopping $1,250 US dollars. So enter the new FP-E50. This digital piano's initial pricing looks to be around $1,000 US, so it's about $200 US more than the FP30X, $250 less than the FP60X, and it's about $150 US dollars more than the DGX 670 from Yamaha, which is really, I think, the competition that it's aimed at. Let's take a quick look at what you're getting for that. 88 fully weighted graded hammer action keys. This is the same PHA4 triple sensor action with escapement that you find on both the FP30X and the FP60X. So very realistic acoustic piano action. And you're getting two sound engines. The supernatural sound engine that's used on the FP30X and the FP60X, and also Roland's expandable Zencore sound engine that's used on some of their keyboards and synthesizers. And there's 256 notes of polyphony available. There's piano designer functionality to deep dive into customizing your supernatural piano tones built right into the keyboard. On the FP30X, you could only make those modifications using an app. There are 38 piano tones, 34 electric pianos, 36 strings, 184 organ and pad tones, and then 726 synth and other tones that include 74 drum sets. The tone list on Roland's website doesn't specify what tones come from what sound engine. I would hazard a guess that most of the piano and electric pianos most likely come from the supernatural sound engine, and that the synths and other tones and that type of stuff comes from Zencore. But don't hold me to that because that's just a guess. Okay, so onto the user interface, and it looks fantastic. It has a ton of quick access buttons, including two customizable live control knobs, and a large monochrome screen. The buttons look to be the same super easy to read backlit buttons that you get on the FP60X and the FP90X. And there are even dedicated slider controls for relative volumes between the keyboard, accompaniment, song, and microphone. Other keyboards can do this kind of thing within menus, but dedicated sliders for this is a fabulous feature. This is the kind of thing that you see on stage pianos. So while I haven't actually used this piano yet, the interface does look really great. It's very similar to the FP60X, and I have spent a fair bit of time in stores playing on that one. Super intuitive and easy to use and to see what the current settings are, so it's light years better than the FP30X's user interface. So this keyboard is a piano arranger. There's some really cool looking auto accompaniment features built in. There's 177 styles included. You get the usual accompaniment features like a couple of variations, sync start, intros and endings, and all the usual stuff. But you also get a couple of pretty cool advanced features. There's an interactive mode. This is where the accompaniment intensity follows your playing intensity. There's 3 levels: extravagant, standard, and simple. And this is more than just moving from variation 1 to variation 2. This mode actually adjusts the backing intensity within your current variation to match how you're playing. Then we get to the chord sequencer. This is, without a doubt, the single most interesting feature on this piano to me. You can input chord progressions ahead of time and then choose a style and have the piano play through your chord progression, which frees up both of your hands to just play. I had to look through the reference manual on Roland's website, and there appears to be some pretty in-depth editing ability with this. You can pre-program variations into the chord chart, and you can also override those choices with the variation buttons in real time as it's playing if you want to. You can copy and paste measures, and there appears to be some type of looping ability in there as well. So I'm really crossing my fingers here that you can actually program an entire song, basically the same way as you would do in an app like Band in a Box or iReal Pro, where you enter a chord chart and then choose accompaniment and then use that to record a backing track. As I've mentioned, I haven't seen any of these keyboards yet, but if this actually works the way that it appears to, it could make creating your own backing tracks exponentially faster and easier. It's almost like having Band in a Box or iReal Pro built into your keyboard. This could actually be setting a new standard for arranger keyboards, especially for piano-focused players like myself that love playing along with backing tracks but would really prefer to have the freedom of both hands available to be able to play whatever I want, whenever I want, as opposed to having to worry about following a chord fingering mode to trigger chords. Now, once again, in all fairness, since I haven't tried one of these yet, I shouldn't really get too excited. I really have no idea how well programmed the accompaniment is, or what the quality of the instrument voices used in the accompaniment is. To be honest, I've never actually even used a Roland Arranger before, so I have no idea how good their arranger features even are. And what I do know is that the quality and programming behind Yamaha's accompaniment has always tended to be kind of the gold standard. So the jury is definitely still out, but these are some pretty cool features. Now for connectivity, it looks like the FP-E50 pretty much has everything. There's left and right line outs for connecting to external audio equipment. There's 2 headphone ports, one for each headphone size. That's something very cool that Roland also did on the FP-30X. So you never need a headphone adapter. It's going to work with whatever kind of headphone jack you've got. There's a 1/4 inch sustain pedal port and a port for an optional triple pedal unit. There's a 1/8 inch audio in port to stream in external audio from a device using a cable. The USB to host port transmits both MIDI and audio, thanks to a built-in audio interface, which is a massive feature. There's a USB-A port for a flash drive, and the keyboard has Bluetooth MIDI functionality and also Bluetooth audio in functionality, so another way to stream in audio only wireless. And last but by no means least, there's a mic input with effects, which I've grown to really enjoy having on a couple of new keyboards of mine, the Yamaha PSR EW425 and my DGX 670 piano. But this new one from Roland has some really cool looking functionality included. In addition to the effects that I've got on my 2 keyboards, you can also add vocal harmonies, transformations, and there's even a vocoder built in. For recording, Roland has taken a unique approach here. Unless I misread something in the manual, it doesn't appear that the FP-E50 has any onboard MIDI recording functionality. There only appears to be onboard or USB flash drive audio recording functionality. And that includes your vocals. I actually don't mind this too much, especially with this Chord Sequencer feature. That can kind of take the place of recording MIDI tracks, especially if your focus is to record backing tracks to play along with. And for multi-track MIDI recording, most people tend to use a DAW app on a device for that anyways. So maybe removing that from the keyboard helps keep the price down. And for saving your custom setups, there's 256 scenes available. For speakers, they're 11 watts per side for a total of 22 watts, which is the same as the FP-30X. I don't see any speaker grills on the top or back, so I'm assuming they face down, also like the FP-30X. That's not my personal preference. I'm hoping that they're ported to the top at least, but to be honest, I don't know any of that for sure. Given everything built into this keyboard, I'm not surprised it comes in at 37 pounds, which is heavier than something like my Yamaha P125 at 25 or 26 pounds, but it's still a lot more portable than my big bulky DGX 670 at 50 pounds. So that's the basic quick intro to the specs on this new Roland FP-E50 digital piano. It definitely looks like my Yamaha DGX 670 is going to have some competition on its hands in 2023. The only differences I can really comment on for sure at this stage would be Roland's PHA-4 triple sensor action is a heavier action, more acoustic piano-like than Yamaha's GHS dual sensor action is. But as I've always said, action is very personal, so which one you will prefer depends on you. I personally prefer the GHS. The main sounds, piano and electric piano, are likely going to be comparable, both awesome. The FP-30X's supernatural piano sounds are definitely superior to my Yamaha P125, but the DGX670 is a big step up from the P125. It's got more polyphony, it's got the CFX Grand instead of the CF Grand samples, as well as some pretty impressive virtual resonance modeling. As far as non-keyboard instrument sounds, to be honest, I don't really know much about Roland's Zencore sounds at all, but I do know Yamaha's other sounds are extremely well regarded, especially the super articulation sounds. The Roland is definitely going to be more suitable for gigs, given that it's 13 pounds lighter and it has left and right line outs. The DGX670 only has a headphone port. As far as the accompaniment goes, they each have some pretty advanced accompaniment features. The DGX670 has some very well programmed styles, and those include unison and accent styles. That's really going to come down to how well they're programmed compared to the Rolands. The chord tracker feature on the Roland looks extremely cool to me. Whether that's a better option for making backing tracks than the DGX670's 16-track onboard sequencer, that's going to depend on how well this chord tracker feature works and on the quality of the accompaniment, programming, and instruments. From initial pricing, it does look like the FP-50 is going to be about $150 US more than the DGX670. So at this stage, I think the jury's definitely still out on comparing these two pianos, and in the end, it might just come down to the good old which action do I prefer and how portable do I need it to be. But one thing I can almost definitely say for sure, if you are a fan of Roland's PHA-4 action and their supernatural piano sounds, and you're considering a Roland FP-30X or a Roland FP-60X, I think the FP-E50 appears to be a massively better value than either of those pianos, so you might want to wait until you can check one of these out. So I'm really looking forward to seeing these pianos show up in my local music stores so I can check them out in person. I'm not sure how long it will be before I can do an actual full review on one of these, since I live in Canada and we're usually one of the last countries to get new products like this. And unless my local music store allows me to rent one, the only way I can review one of these properly is to buy one. So we'll have to see how all of that plays out. At any rate, just wanted to let you know about this new piano, and go check out the specs on Roland's website. They've got some videos there as well. And other than that, happy piano playing, happy piano shopping, and have an awesome day.